Python is a crucial tool for any aspiring data professional, data science. You are looking to get into the data analytics interface. So you are going to use Python to manipulate, extract insight from a data set using acquainted data structures such as dictionaries, pandas, data frame, and so many other Python functions and packages. So welcome back to the channel and welcome to Excel Island, where the goal and objective is to learn and master Python over the next 100 days. Today is day 10. We are 10% out of 100 days of learning Python. I actually started learning Python 9 days ago. We've covered quite a lot. If you're looking to start with me from the beginning, from day one, from introduction to Python, where we looked at variables, data types, we looked at somehow to manipulate or create different variables and data types. Just go to the live stream tab on the channel and start from day one. We've not actually gone far. Today is day 10, so you can still catch up with us. So on this live stream, which is day 10 live stream, we're actually on a course called Intermediate Python. So we've moved from Introduction to Python to Intermediate Python. And this Intermediate Python actually contains 5 courses. So we've covered Matplotlib. We started with data visualization with Matplotlib. Since we got introduced to basics of Python, we actually got introduced to actually visualizing and extracting insights from data set immediately. So it was quite interesting lesson there. So we also moved to some data frame or how to handle tabular data in Python, working with tabular data in Python, just like normal CSV files or Excel interface files using dictionaries and pandas. So we started that on day 8, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, day 8. So we have today is the last day. We'll be spending 3 days on it just to complete and be patient while learning these lessons because they're actually highly technical knowledge. You don't have to rush them just to understand and grab the concept pretty well. So, and the challenge is that some of these lessons, they are quite huge, they are quite much. So we actually break down the lessons into 3 parts just to cover it pretty well. So I'll just show you what I mean. In a minute, I'll show you all I'm saying. In a minute, so you have a good understanding of what I'm trying to pass to you. So the idea is we are going to be spending just an hour daily on the live stream so that you can also have the opportunity to watch the replay and practice along with me. So also all the CSV files or pandas and CSV files, Python files that we'll be using and will continue to be using, I already link under the description. So do make sure to download those files and practice along with me. Without further ado, welcome to day 10 of Python. Let's jump back to learning and complete our pandas part today. So I'll just show you what it looks like really quick. So I go to the career track section on the platform. So when I started this fun way of learning, actually, it all started with data analysis in SQL. Then we went further to data analysis in Power BI, which we did it for a period of 100 days. This ran for a 100-day period. This was just for 69 days or 70 days of learning. We were able to complete the whole lessons and build project also, just little project and case studies on each career track. So on this Python career track also, we're also going to be building projects along the way. We're not just learning concepts, just learning. We are playing along the way, getting things done, and building some little projects here and there. So if I click on data analysis with Python real quick, you can see we've covered introduction to Python from day 1 to probably day 6 or 7. When we look at the Python basics, we also look at Python list, functions and packages. Then we started working with the NumPy package immediately. Then we moved rather to intermediate Python, where we're actually on Matplotlib. We've completed this part. Actually, we spent 2 days on that. Let me quickly view course for you so you understand what I'm saying. You see on the Matplotlib section, you know that the content is much and cumbersome. So we split it to 2 days or 3 days. That's why we're actually spending 3 days on this dictionaries and pandas section, just so that we can actually understand the concept and practice without rushing it. We don't just want to rush it and just practice it and just watch the videos. No, 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 no. So that's not how it is work. So let's complete this part. So we started with dictionaries and pandas, introduction to dictionary, to create dictionary. Then from dictionary, you can actually convert a dictionary to a tabular data structure using Pandas. So we did that on day 8. So you can catch that on day 8 live stream. So we want to complete how to manipulate our content, the data structure of that you've created with Pandas, from dictionary, the data you've created with Pandas. We also learned how to connect to a CSV data file yesterday. That is on day 8. So you can also catch that on day 8 live stream. Just go to day 8 and you're going to start from dictionaries. So from Pandas actually. So day 8 is all about Pandas. Then day 6 and 7 was all about dictionary and playing with dictionary. So without further any other explanation, let's complete this part of the course. Let's continue this chapter. So we're also going to be using Anaconda Navigator, which is Jupyter. Let me just launch my Anaconda Navigator real quick. Oh yeah, this is it. So let's go back to the Pandas part today. Pandas part 2, which is manipulating Pandas. Hold up a minute. So Pandas part 2, I think this is advanced part of Pandas where we're working with iLock. Yes, iLock. I'm using square bracket index to actually extract the data from your tabular data structure. So let me open the file we are using yesterday so you have a good understanding of what I'm talking about. I think my Anaconda Navigator is launched. So I just open my Jupyter notebook, Jupyter Lab. So if you want to know how to install this Anaconda Navigator, just go to day 1 of this live stream. I showed you how to do that. So you can just look at the comment section. I listed each day and what was covered under a pinned comment. I actually pinned the comments so you can actually see that pretty fast like that. Or you go to the live stream tab to view it. Okay, this is launching. So my Jupyter notebook is launched already. So I just go to the file. So I want to open the file, which is intermediate Python, which is dictionaries and pandas file. So I've launched the file. So you can see this was from day 1 of dictionaries. So how to create a dictionary. Then we did a lot of stuff. We also learned how to manipulate dictionary and extract values from the dictionary. Then we moved to pandas, you can see. So now we want to see how to ground. We actually created this data frame, this tabular data structure, which is the normal CSV, Excel, Google Sheets type of data structure, which is the normal data structure we're all familiar with, from this simple defined list here. So you need to understand how to create a list in Python. So just watch the rest of the videos on the live stream from day 1 so you understand all this concept. So that is why it is important to actually watch it from day 1 and follow along. So they are talking about lists. You understand what a list means. When they are talking about dictionary, you actually understand what a dictionary is, and so on and so forth. So now let's see how we can manipulate this part of our data structure that we've created. So that's what we want to learn today. Okay.
In the previous video, we created the data frame bricks, containing basic data on the BRICS countries. Here it is again. The code here makes sure that the rows and columns are given appropriate labels. This is important to make accessing columns, rows, and single elements in your data frame easy. Now, that's exactly what I'll show you in this video. What a coincidence. There are numerous ways in which you can index and select data from data frames. So we'll take this step by step. First, I'm going to talk about how to use square brackets. Next, I'm going to tell you about advanced data access methods, loc and iloc, that make Pandas extra powerful. Suppose that you want to only select the country column from BRICS. How to do this with square brackets? You simply type BRICS and then the column label inside square brackets. Python prints out the entire column, together with the row labels. But there's something strange here. The last line says name, country, dtype, object. We're clearly not dealing with a regular data frame here. Let's find out about the type of the object that gets returned with the type function as follows. Okay, so we're dealing with a Pandas series here. In a simplified sense, you can think of the series as a one-dimensional array that can be labeled, just like the data frame. Otherwise put, if you paste together a bunch of series, you can create a data frame. If you want to select the country column, but keep the data in a data frame, you'll need double square brackets like this. If you check out the type of this fellow, it's a good old data frame, this time with only one column though. You can perfectly extend this call to select two columns, country and capital, for example. If you look at it from a different angle, you're actually putting a list with column labels inside another set of square brackets and end up with a sub-data frame containing only the country and capital columns. You can also use the same square brackets to select rows from a data frame. The way to do it is by specifying a slice. To get the second, third, and fourth rows of bricks, we use the slice 1:4. Remember that the end of the slice is exclusive and that the index starts at 0. Here are the row indexes so that you see what's happening. These square brackets work, but it only offers limited functionality. Ideally, we'd want something similar to 2D NumPy arrays. There, you also use square brackets. The index or slice before the comma referred to the rows. The index or slice after the comma referred to the columns. If we want to do a similar thing with Pandas, we have to extend our toolbox with the loc and iloc functions. Loc is a technique to select parts of your data based on labels. Iloc is based on position. Let's start with loc first. Let's have another look at the bricks data frame and try to get the row for Russia. This is how it's done. You put the label of the row of interest inside square brackets after loc. Again, we get a Pandas series containing all the rows' information, rather inconveniently shown on different lines. To get a data frame, we have to put the RU string inside another pair of brackets. We can also select multiple rows at the same time. Suppose you want to also include India and China. This will do the trick. Simply add some more row labels to the list. This was only selecting entire rows. That's something you could also do with the basic square brackets. The difference here is that you can extend your selection with a comma and a specification of the columns of interest. Let's extend the previous call to only include the country and capital columns. We add a comma and a list of column labels we want to keep. The intersection gets returned. Of course, you can also use loc to select all rows, but only a specific number of columns. Simply replace the first list that specifies the row labels with a colon, a slice going from beginning to end. This time, the intersection spans all rows, but only 2 columns. So, let's take a step back. Simple square brackets work fine if you want to get columns. To get rows, you can use slicing. The loc function is more versatile. You can select rows, columns, but also rows and columns at the same time. When you use loc, subsetting becomes remarkably similar to how you subsetted 2D NumPy arrays. The only difference is that you use row labels with loc, not the positions of the elements. If you want to subset Pandas data frames based on their position or index, you'll need the iloc function. Let's cover the same examples as with loc and start with getting the row for Russia. In loc, you use the RU string in double square brackets to get a data frame, like here. In iloc, you use the index 1 instead of RU. The results are exactly the same. To get the rows for Russia, India, and China, which was coded like this when using loc, you can now use a list with the index 1 to 3. Again, the same result. In addition, to only keeping the country and capital column, which we did as follows with loc, we put the indexes 0 and 1 in a list after the comma, referring to the country and capital column. Finally, you can keep all rows and keep only the country and capital column in a similar fashion. With loc, this is how it's done. For iloc, it's like this. Loc and iloc are pretty similar. The only difference is how you refer to columns and rows. I know all of this could be a lot to take in. So let's get you coding yourself to master indexing and selecting data. Keep learning by doing.
This look is pretty easy, but using the square brackets by default works fine. Okay, now let me just quickly run through my code one more time. So I have all of them working fine. You see, they are still working pretty fine. So my code are working pretty fine. Now using square brackets, let's practice extracting certain column rows. So we want to learn how to extract certain rows, certain columns using indexes, just like the way we are going to use index on list, the way we use index on list. So if you want to understand what indexing means, so you can go and watch the lists, Python lists, or the day Python lists on the live stream tab. Hold on minutes. So we're actually looking at using our index to extract certain rows and extract certain columns from our data, from our pandas data frame. So that's what we want to do here. So it says in the video, you saw that you can index and select pandas data frame in many different ways. So the simplest but not the most powerful way is to use square brackets. So in the sample code, the same cars data is imported from a CSV file as a pandas data frame. Select the cars per capital column from cars. You can use cars, then you use square brackets to point to the column, or you can also use cars and double square brackets that is going to return it as a tabular data frame structure. So you see the difference between the two now. So the single bracket version gives a pandas series, what the double square bracket version gives a pandas data frame. So that is the difference between single square bracket and double square bracket. So use single square bracket to print out the country column of cars as a pandas series. So we imported pandas as PD. We've pointed to our data structure, which is the CSV file. So we learned how to do that on day 9 rather. So you can catch that on day 9. So you print out country column as a pandas series. Okay, so simple. You point to the cars data frame, then use a single square brackets. Then we point to the country column. Just use a quote, the country. So it's going to print it out. So print out column as a pandas data frame. I'll just copy this real quick. And instead of a single column, I'm going to turn it to a double column, double square bracket rather. Okay. Double square brackets. So print out data frame with country and drives right columns. Print out data frame with country and drive right columns. So we want to print out, okay. Use single square bracket to print out the country column of cars as pandas. You've done that. Use double square bracket to print out the country column of cars as pandas. You've done that. Now use double square bracket to print out data frame with both country and drives right column of cars. So I'm just going to copy this again, just to save time. paste it. So we want to print out country, comma, then my drives rights column, drives rights, underscore rights. That's it. So let's run the code. You can see. So this, the first one was a data series. So let me see. Okay, I need to use prints here so you can see it in this section here. If I don't use prints, you won't see it on the interface here. So you can see now. So you may not see it better here. So I'm going to copy this bunch of code and paste it in my Jupyter notebook for a better view. So if I say print out country column as a Pandas series, let me copy this first code first. So I want to print out country column as a Pandas series. So it's going to extract country from this tabular data structure here. Do you see? You can see the column, so the country column, which doesn't really make sense. Then it's going to name the country and the D type, which is objects. So these are so instead of doing this series method, you can also return it as a single entity from this column using the order code here, which is the double brackets. Now see the difference. Oh, double bracket is still returning similar results. Oh, but I think it's much more better like this. Column one, then the country. Can you see the country here? Yeah, it's going to return same results. Exactly same results. Just that the difference is clear. You can see there's no country and D type under it. That is the difference here. So if you want to return two columns now, if you want to return two columns, I can see country and drives right. So it's extracting country and drive right from this tabular data structure. So this is like a this is a data frame structure. This is a series structure. So that is the difference there. Let's submit the code and see. Ooh, why? Class country as a pandas data frame. I actually use cars. So what's not the issue? I'm not supposed to use prints for you to see the results. Okay, let's see. I'm still getting same error. That's quite funny though. The data camp interface is kind of funny sometimes. You be getting the correct code and you be get I'm having the correct code right here and it's still returning error for me. For the first print, oh, probably because I didn't put prints. Oh, my bad. I didn't put prints as part of this. I didn't put the word prints there. Now let's see again. Okay. Okay. Now let's submit the code. Aha. I was not making the mistake. I didn't use the word prints here. So that's absolutely correct. So let's continue. So that's how simple it is. So square bracket part two. So square bracket can do more than just selecting columns. You can also use them to get rows or observation from a data frame. The following call select the first 5 rows from the cars data frame. Okay. So the first 5 rows, that means the index is always starting from 0. So if you look at the index structure here, the index is always starting from 0 here, you can see. So this 0 is included. This 0 is seen as the first row, which is row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're expecting United States all the way to Russia. If you are to use this index, this code here, I say cars. Let me copy this first. I say, okay, return cars using index notation structure. You see, US will be seen as row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's what indexing means. Okay, the result is another data frame containing only the rows you specified. So pay attention, you can only select rows using square brackets if you specify a slice, like 0, 4. Also, you are using the integer index of the rows here, not the row labels. Okay, the integer index, exactly. You are not actually using the row labels, but the integer index of the rows, which is this integer number here, not the row labels that we actually created here in this section here. Okay, so select the first three observation from cars and print them out. First three observation from cars, that will be square bracket. First three, 0 and colon 4. So 4 is going to exclude row 4 and stop at 3. So now we have to print it out. Print here. This says select the fourth, fifth, and sixth observation corresponding to rows index 3, 4, and 5 and print them out. Ooh. Select the fourth, fifth, and sixth. Okay, also select the fourth, fifth, and sixth. Okay. If I say cars, so the fourth, fifth. So I'm going to start from index on 4, colon, fourth, fifth, and sixth. 7. Are we up to, is the rows up to 7? Let's confirm. Who? Let's see. Hmm. Since I want to return all rows, let's see. This is the rows. I want to return all rows. I could just use this simple method to return all the rows. We don't even need to specify any content there. There's a trick to return all the rows. What was that trick? I'm going to figure out that trick now. There's always a trick to return all the rows. And it seems I've forgotten the trick. But I'm going to remember pretty soon right away. And I believe that's the trick though. So select the fourth, fifth, and sixth observation corresponding to row index 3, 4, and 6. Hold up. How many columns do we have there? We actually have 4 columns rather. Is it 4 columns or 3 columns? 1, 2, 3. We actually have 3 columns. Mhm. The first three observations. Hmm. Let's see. Let's get it to an error first. Then we can iterate, iterate rather, and get it right. Oh, is that I'm going to get an error. So this way, my error is from this line here. But what if I get rid of it? Let's see. It should return all the rows. Exactly. So this is going to return all the rows for me without having to worry about the rows. Okay, let's see. It says print out the first three observation. What is my first three observation? The first three are US, Australia, and Japan. Yes, US, Australia, and Japan. So let me see here. US, Australia, Japan, Indonesia, first three. But I believe, let me now change it to three. Let's see. First three is US, Australia, and Japan. Then this was split out fourth, fifth, and sixth observation. I'm actually returning all rows here, but I need to return only the fourth, fifth, and sixth observation, which corresponds to 3, 4, 5. 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 3, 4, 5. So I need to be specific, which is 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to start from, let's change it to 3. Ooh, okay. I'm going to save. Let me just copy it here and see it in action from my Jupyter notebook here. Print out the first three observation. I see the first three is US, right from here. US, Australia, and Japan. US, Australia, and Japan. So we got that correctly. Now the second challenge is print out the fourth, fifth, and sixth observation. Let's submit the code first. Let's see. We didn't get it. So it's supposed to be 3 and 6. Okay, now let's iterate that. So I was missing. So I was able to get index of 3, 4, 5, 6, which is India or Russia and Morocco. I just this includes 6. So it's going to exclude the sixth observation here. Okay. So since I used 2, so I'm starting from 3 here. So it's going to exclude 2. But it's also include it though. It's supposed to include that observation rather. India, Russia, and Morocco. Yes, you can see. In India, Russia, and Morocco, which are the fourth, fifth, and sixth observation. So the third index here is included, while the sixth index here is excluded. So that's why we have the fifth observation here. Oh, understood. This can really get confusing sometimes. You just have to pay attention to those numbers. Voila. So we nailed it now. So that's also extra the fourth, fifth, and sixth observation. But using Excel or other BI tools, you won't need to be stressing yourself about all these index numbers and so on. That's why it's pretty different. That's why people are so good at prefer using Power BI, Excel, rather than Python. But Python is kind of interesting. So let's talk about log and iLog. Using log and iLog to solve the challenges now. So with log and iLog, you can do practically any data selection operation on data frames you can think of. Log is label is label based, which means that you have to specify rows and columns based on their rows and column labels. Okay. iLock is integer based, is integer index based. So you have to specify rows and columns by their integer index like you did in the previous exercise. So try out the following command to experiment with lock and iLock. To select observations, each pair of commands here gives you the same results. Because let's see, as lock. Okay, let's copy this first. If you're using lock and iLock, you can see lock RU is going to point to Russia. So, but if you use iLock, you say index of 4, you're going to get the same results. You can see cars per capita, what is Russia, drives right. Okay, let me just copy it differently. Let's use it differently. Same thing. I'm going to get same results or same results. So you can see RU using RU, which is the label index, and using the integer index. So we have same results here. Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to get same results with this same lock as before. So let us waste time practicing that again. What if we use the same? Let me use this other one here real quick. If you run this code, we're expecting to return rows for Russia, Australia, and Russia, which is index 1 and index 4. Okay, now let's see. You see index 1, row for Russia and row for Australia. We mentioned Russia first, then we mentioned Australia after. So if you say index 1, you're getting same results. You can see Russia row 4, which is row 4, and Australia is row 1. As you can see, Australia is row 1, Russia is row 4. So that's how straightforward this iLock and locker. Now let's see it in action. So as before, the code is included and imports the cars data as the pandas data frame. It now says use lock and iLock to select the observation corresponding to Japan as a series. The label of this row is JPN. The index is 2. Make sure to print the resulting series. It says print out observation for Japan. Okay, observation for Japan would now be cars dot lock as a series. Then square brackets. They mention the label, which is JPN. Print observation for Australia and Egypt. Okay, so I'm going to use iLock again. As so this time around iLock. Then Japan is observation of 2. Just observation of 2, which is the index of 2. So I'm not going to say 2 here rather than JPN. So print out observation for Australia and Egypt. So use lock and iLock. Let me just copy the same snippet here. Code snippet for Australia. So Australia is AUS. Right, so Australia have the index of Australia and Egypt. Use lock or iLock. Okay, lock or iLock. So I can use lock for Australia. I can use iLock for Egypt. You should still get same results. So Egypt's index is, let's see, 6. I just use the index of 6 there. Let's see it in action. as a data frame. This one says as a data frame, so I'm going to use double double quotes, double square bracket rather. If I run the code, let's see. Oh, which line is giving me an error? Oh, iLock. Oh, my iLock is spelling, so I'm using capital letter instead of small letter. Now let's run it again. Aha, you see. So you have to be pretty careful with capitalization here. Print, so I need to use put prints as part of. I keep working with Jupyter Notebook. It's quite easier. Prints, okay. Then finally, prints. Did I call print? I call print perfectly well. Oh, what was the challenge here? You can see how my code is working fine, but this DataCamp platform acts funny sometimes. print. Of course, I called print. Let us reset the code. I'm going to paste it. Hmm. Okay, print out observation. Oh. That's like just print it out for Egypt and Australia in one code. Okay. Hmm. That's quite easy then. Okay. Let's say print observation for Australia and Egypt. So I could use lock. I could actually use lock and iLock. So it's Australia and Egypt, comma, square brackets, EG, and I could use 1 and 6. Australia is 1, Egypt is 6. 1, comma 6. So I can use both and it will still work fine. So let's see it in action also here. Print observation for Japan. So if I come here back, just paste it here. So if I use cars.log jpn, which is the row label here, row label which is jpn here, jpn, which is row label of 2, as you see here. So that's what we're actually doing there. So we're going to get same results. You can see prints. I don't need to column. Oh, come on. Let me just get rid of the prints here also. Okay. Wow. Funny. Key error JPN. Why is it giving me key error JPN? I've been using lock here since I use lock in this. Okay, let me use iLock this time around. I'm getting the first error, which is not supposed to be so. Let's see iLock. So my iLock is working fine. Why is how my JPN not working fine? Is it because I'm using single quotes? We've been using single quotes since morning. Observation for Japan is JPN. Actually, you can see JPN. So what's not the issue right here? Key error JPN. Why is there an error? Quite funny though. Oh, this is quite funny. My iLock version is working, but my Libre version is not working. Why? Which is quite funny though. But let me now try another label. Let's try US. Let's try US this time around. We will try US. Now let's see. Quite funny though. See, US is returning the correct code. Why my Japan is not returning the correct code? Why? Imagine. Probably it is Jap. Oh, it is not JPN, it is JAPA. Ooh, but it's not showing JPN here. But when we name the index here, we use JPN. Okay, that's quite funny though. Let me not change it to Jap rather than JPN. Okay, okay. Ooh, I need to figure that out. Jap. Man, so it's not still JPN. So the label JPN is not working there. So I'll figure that out later. Now let's see the last part, which is Australia and Egypt. Create an observation. So we could create an observation for both at once using the Australia and Egypt. You can see Australia. Now I'm printing it out in the tabular structure, which is much more easier. And I can also use the index using iLock. So we're going to get same results. Pretty straightforward there. Interesting. Now let's talk about our iLock part 2. Yeah, let's see the observation for iLock. Now we are getting complex and multiply using iLock for more advanced stuff. It says lock and iLock also allow you to select both rows and columns from a data frame. To experiment, try out the following command again. Get command produce the same results. Okay. You can see lock in India and cars per capita. So I was actually only selecting the Indian row and only a certain column. Okay. This time we're specifying the rows to return and a column to return, not returning all the whole columns. Okay. Print out the drives right value of the row corresponding to Morocco, its row label MOR. Print out the drives right. So we're going to select specify the row first, then the column, just like you are doing in indexes. So the row first is its row label MOR. Let me say cars, single column this time around. Since we are using lock, oh, it has to be in small letters. Bracket, then the colon is the row rather is MOR. Then we want to return a specified colon. I'm going to say pass per drives rights. Drives rights. So print out some data frame. So these are a series and these are the data frame. So I'm going to use print here. Print. So same thing. Pass dot iLock. So print out a subdata frame containing the observation for Russia and Morocco and the columns country and drives rights. Okay, subdata frame. Contain the observation for Russia and Morocco. Print out a sub-data frame. Contain the observation Russia and Morocco. Okay. For the column, so I'm going to specify the rows first. Russia and Morocco. Okay, cast dots. Okay, use lock too. Let's use lock. Then square brackets. So this first is Russia and Morocco, which is I think this is RES, comma. Then the next one is Morocco. That is the rows. We are specifying the rows. So now I need to put in another comma and open another square bracket. Create a subdata frame. Now I want to specify the country column. The country column, comma. Then it drives rights. So I'm going to now wrap it all of it in another double square brackets. That has to create a sub-data frame. Let's run the code. Ooh, error. What's my error? Let's look. Let's look. Oh, let's see. Oh, I'm missing one square bracket here. That's the error there. Let's run it again. Ooh, hold up. It's also be 2 here, not 3. Uh-oh. This one index. This is another index. Then we wrap it up in this. Okay, let me just put print there. Print all of this out. Let's see it one more time. Ooh. RES is not index. Okay. That means I'm not getting the okay. RU is just RU, not RUS. Okay, RU. Sorry. I was missing the index for that. So Russia is this, Morocco is the then the country column. You can see Russia and Morocco. Now let's see it in my Jupyter notebook so you see it better. You will notice since we are returning certain rows and all the columns. Now I want to specify the columns to return and the rows to be returned rather. So print out drives right values of Morocco. I see. We want to return the row rather Morocco, or only this dot column here. This is what this code is doing here. Now it says true. I'm going to exclude the prints since we are in Jupyter notebook here. So I'm going to get more results. Ooh, print. I'm also print out. Come on. I'm printing out. I'm not saying you should confirm if it is true or not. Then the print should work fine there. Now let's print it. Let's see. Come on. I'm supposed to return rows and column now, not a boolean. Come on, this is not fair. Print out, not return true or false. Why do I get it to print out? Funny enough, can I point it? Can I make it a variable? Let me see. Let me see if I can do that. I can say Roku. I hope I spell Morocco correctly there. I know it's double C. Let's see how funny this is going to return. So on match, I know it's going to return an error immediately. Okay. On match here. Oh, funny. I'll make it a variable. So if I now print Morocco now, let's see. It's only true. That's not funny at all. I don't know why it's not printing out my results, my column. Why? Why? Why is not printing it out? Why? Why is it only true? This is quite funny though. Let's try another result there, another column there. Now let me use this sub data frame here. Aha, look at this. It's giving me a result. Print cars Morocco. Okay, and it's sub data frame. So the best thing to do is just wrap it up in double quotes here. Well, let me see the results here. It's working fine. You can see my lock here is returning. Let me see Russia, Morocco. Why is returning? The drives right. Okay, let me see the drive. Okay. It is actually printing it here also. Print cars dot lock Morocco and drives right. It's not printing it out. It's a print out drives right value for the corresponding row Morocco. So how do I make it print out here also? Let's see. Hmm. So basically we're going to use double quotes for it again, double square brackets for this to print out. Ooh, why? Drive right not an index. Why is this not an index here? I'm trying to return rows and column. Well, when I was using a single column, a single square bracket, it was returning 2. Immediately I change it to a double square bracket, it is returning 1. Let me see. I want to understand why it is not returning a result for me here. It says print out drives right value of the row corresponding to column. If you see my results here, look at it here. Okay, hold on. So it is actually printing it out. Same thing here. It's printing through here. From through here, but it says print out. Great work. iLock and lock are excellent tools for selecting data frame values by label and index. In the next exercise, you select the entire column using them. Okay. But I'm curious why it is not printing it out. Yeah, I want to know. Hold up. Let me troubleshoot it one more time. Class.lock. We'll be printing this thing out over and over again. So I'm specifying the rows and column in this instance here. But you're not getting me, you're not giving me that result. Why? Why? Do I have to use subdata frame again? Okay, let me do subdata frame again for this. Let's see. Okay, then finally another subdata frame. Aha. Why? Why do you want to return it like that? Well, that's by the way though. Drive wise is true. Oh, well, I'm not serious. The result, the record in our drives right is true for Morocco. How am I stressing myself? Where's Morocco? The record is so it is printing out the record. I wasn't paying attention. Will you see that? I wasn't paying attention. But that time it wasn't printing Morocco out. So that was the challenge. So not printing this Morocco column out. Okay. Okay. Understood better now. But by the way, it's supposed to print out the record, the rows Morocco also. It's only two. Why is it not printing out the record Morocco? It's supposed to print it out like this. Why? Okay. That's by the way though. So let's move on. So I wasn't paying attention to that. So the final part is lock and iLock theory. And let's see. So now says it is also possible to select only columns with lock and iLock. In both cases, you simply put a slice going from beginning to end in front of the comma. Okay. So it's also possible to only select columns with lock and iLock. So you can also select only single columns with lock and iLock. So in both cases, you simply put a slice going from beginning to end in front of the comma. So let's say an example though. Class.lock This is a colon, comma, then the country. This is a colon. So this colon is going to return all the rows and only return a particular a selected column. Same thing here. Lock, then return all the rows, then only these selected columns. Okay, print out the derived right column as a series using lock and ilock. As a series using lock and ilock. Okay, class single brackets. So that means they're trying to print out the derived right column. Let's specify any row. That means I should print out all the rows. Okay, then comma, then the derived right column, drives underscore right. It says print out drives right column as a data frame. Now this time is as a data frame. Print. So we're going to say cars again, colon, comma. This time around as a data frame. I'm going to be using two double quote this time around. Then the drives right column, another brackets. This time around, I'm going to put it in quotes. Print out cars per capital and drive right as a data frame. Okay, now I want to select two columns. So I'm just going to copy this real quick and just put print out print here. So I could just use series or index. I just prefer using the label method. Yeah, the label method is quite interesting. So class per capital. I'll just copy this real quick. Ooh, I actually spent an hour on this challenge also. That's how pretty tough it is though. This is going to have a comma here. No, better. Okay, now let's run the code. Ooh, what's the error again? Drives right is an invalid key. Why? Hold up a minute. Print out drives right. Ooh, now let's pay attention to this. Okay. Oh, print. Is it because I'm not putting print here? That shouldn't be the error though. Because I'm not putting prints there. Oh, print out drives right as a column. As a drive right column as series. Now let's see the final version of this. Oh, look at me. I'm just wanting to lock. I'm not using the lock keyword there. Oh, that was my mistake. You can see there was no lock in my codes. So now let's run the code again. Ooh, class not in index. Oh, hold up. Class per cap. Okay, class per capital. I didn't copy it correctly. Aha. So you can see I wasn't paying attention to the keyword there. You can see. So now let's run it again. Now let's see. Print out drives right as a column series. Let's copy this and test it out in our Jupyter notebook here. You can see as a series now. You can see we are returning all the rows. So this first part of the code It's going to return all the rows for the record observation, and it's going to return only a selected column, which is drives right. You can see it here. All the rows will be returned, and this single column here. That's how tricky it is. You can see that. Now, instead of doing that as a series, now let's return it as a data frame, which is much more better. You see it here. So it's going to return the data frame, the column name is going to be returned. It will just be returning an empty column for you without a column name. That is different between as a series and a data frame. Now this time around, let's copy this, return double columns, 2 or more columns. So this is going to return all the rows, and this is going to return the 2 specified columns rather. You could see. Interesting. So I think this is quite interesting, and I was smart enough not to do this section on day 8 because this was actually part of yesterday's section. I could see that it is quite a lot of information to cover. That is why I shifted it to day 9. So I was smart enough. So let's submit and see. What a drill on indexing and selecting data from Pandas data frames. We've done great. It's time to head over to chapter 3 to learn all about logic, control flow, and filtering. So we're going to be covering logic, control flow, and filtering starting from day 11. And those are part of the things that makes Python interesting also. Which is chapter 3. I can see that they are quite, the content is quite much too. Just break down to each section. You can see probably to 4 or 5, but definitely 4. We cover those first record. If it is not that quite technical, you could break it down into 3 or 4 live stream. That's by the way though. Alright, so thanks for staying to the end of the live stream. So if you found value in this learning journey with me, or you want to upskill yourself with Python, do well to support the channel by giving this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and put on your notification bell so you'll be the first to know whenever I go live. I start learning on day 11, which is tomorrow. Definitely will come live tomorrow, and little by little, we are covering the important aspects to becoming a Pythonista. I'll see you on day 11. You have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye bye.